All right, y'all. This week, we just got to say one thing, and that's thank you. This was not a paid advertisement for the Cali Brick Clique, but you know this isn't over yet. Just keep it rolling.
So you want me to drive to San Francisco by myself and then bring your stuff all the way to you?
What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to episode 94 of Cali Brick Clique. And you can find this on all your podcasting platforms, Apple, Spotify. I feel like Spotify is the main one, but all of them. You can find them everywhere. And we have Claire, plastic architect. She's back in the kitchen.
Hi.
Getting down. We got Shy.
Yo.
And this week, we have the gregarious maestro of London calling himself Greg from London Bridge Bricks.
Nice.
How we doing? It's good to be back again. It's good to be back. I'm a couple of surprises. Firstly, I'm surprised I've been asked to come back, which is amazing. So I'm in the back twice club for Cali Brick Clique, which is nice.
Sheesh. Raise the roof.
And I'm loving the fact that you guys are edging ever closer to the big 100 as well, which is very exciting.
The big one. See, I have a question about that.
All right.
So, do we celebrate episode 100? Or do we celebrate episode 104? Because that's the 2-year mark.
Oh, so yeah, I got that. Yeah, I got the same thing. It was like when I did London Calling, and it was like, oh yeah, everyone was like, yeah, man, it's 100. It's crazy, and it's like, yeah, but 104 is the 2-year one. So what you got? I think what you do is you kind of use 100 to tee up something for 104.
Okay, because we got like
that's the thing to do. I think
we have like a month weeks after that.
Yeah.
For us though, like it's both during the holidays because we started the week after New Year's or the week of New Year's.
Like so one is Thanksgiving, right? Like 100 is Thanksgiving, which obviously only affects us. But and then
Christmas for
New Year's.
Yeah, but I don't know. New Year's sounds like New Year's is like one of those things where like it's overhyped and. It's like if you stay home for New Year's, you end up having like more fun. At least I do.
True. I agree.
I like staying at home but I like inviting family over to us. I don't want to go to a I want everyone to come to us, and we have like a top time. It's I'm always thankful anyway for seeing in another year. The bongs of Big Ben, which of course I love and synonymous with. Yeah, I don't know. It's just and let's face it, we've made it through to another year, and then next thing you're thinking is, it's just a matter of hours, and the new modular comes out again.
There you go.
That's what it's like, though, isn't it? It's either that you're online at 12 saying, "All right, I'll be back in a minute. Leave the champagne on hold for me," because you're ordering something that you know is going to go out of stock in a few minutes, or you're thinking, right, I've got to be up at the crack of dawn to go and get the new modular. Which is exactly what I did last year, which was good fun, actually.
I mean, January 1st is always a huge release date for Lego anyways. And like, I feel like if you're like a diehard Lego fan, like you are about New Year's Eve because you're going to be wide awake.
I'm always trying to sort of play it down, like manage my wife's expectations a little bit. Are you sure you want to go all the way over there on New Year's Eve? No,
well, I feel like I've spent the last couple New Year's Eves, like last 2 years, this will be the third one, with my Lego friends online and not even like my friends in real life. And I don't know what that says about you, but it's more exciting because I get to order. Well, for us, like, I was in California the last two, so it was like at 9 p.m. And I feel like Shy and I are always ordering the modulars and the Chinese New Year sets.
Oh yeah, it's a thing, isn't it? Chinese New Year sets and modulars, like in this synonymous now with the same sentence. But what do we think it's even going to be? I really, for this year, well, rather next year, I suppose. I'm kind of hopeful. I don't know what it is. I've got no inkling at all because like Legos. Was there a thing about it? No one has. And I don't even know if people started rumorizing about it. But I'm going for a theatre. I'd like to see a theatre or something.
Another one.
Well, I don't know. No, that's a cinema. We've had a cinema, but I don't think we've had a theatre, have we?
Oh, okay. So you mean more like a Broadway?
Broadway, West End.
Okay.
Yeah,
that makes sense. I don't know.
Interesting.
I want another municipal building. I want either a hospital, post office, a school, like something that's like.
Lego have never gone back and done. They've never done like a new version of a set, and I don't know if modulars should do that. I mean, maybe
they did the hotel for to commemorate the cafe corner, so that's the link there. But going forward, I don't think they should keep doing it every year. I think like every anniversary they should. Like, I definitely think that, and they've been hinting, and a lot of the modulars, they've been hinting back to older sets, which jacks the prices up. Like, for example, the police station did the brick bank. Like, no one cared about the brick bank when it was out, and then when the police station hinted towards it, that shot up crazy prices.
Yeah.
So I think keeping like that is cool. Maybe like every 15, 20 years, like every 5 years, do something that's like an homage to a previous set years ago. Like Cafe Corner. But I feel like we should. I'm hoping it's a building that hasn't been done yet in a city, like a hospital or a post office or a school. I think that's just me hoping.
A post office is quite a good one. Give it a little Royal Mail sticker on it or something like that.
Exactly. Did you build the Lego store yet? I mean, I built mine.
No, I've got it. Do you know what? I've got it there for when I just don't know what to do, and I'm like, I'll just do that, because those can be done at any time. And you've built your one, haven't you? You've done
built it.
Did you like it? Because
I mean, I like the aesthetic of it, and now that I think about it, it's huge for a Lego store. Yeah, and I know it's supposed to be like like one of the flagship stores, as you would call it, and I like the facade of it. But when you really think about it, right next to because I have it currently just sitting next to me, the Sanctum, and I'm so used to the modulars being like 3 levels, things happening in every level. This one's just one open space.
Okay.
So
that's different. That's good.
Yeah, it's totally different, and I'm open to it. It's just now that I'm really looking at it, I'm like, it's like it doesn't have like the full aesthetic of a modular that I was expecting. It does fit like the skyline of it, but it's like, this is huge. Like, this is a lot of real estate for like one giant room.
It would look good with lights, though.
But it is Lego. It's almost, for some people, I think it would almost be a good idea to have it as like the center of their city, because this is kind of where it all began. It's almost
That'd
like
be cool.
almost like where you'd normally have like a building company, a building, an estate, or something like that. You could have that in your Lego city and have that as the kind of the builders, so to speak.
They supply the bricks.
They supply the bricks. That's the thing.
And if you were lucky enough to get that little yellow Lego truck that you have right next to it, that's a good addition to the aesthetic of that building.
Dude, I got it simply because I thought it would go really, really well on there, and it is an awesome little truck. It really is. I'm so glad I got it. And it was weird because they did it on week 2 when Leicester Square reopened.
That's when we were there. Yeah, we got that truck.
You got it as well. Oh my god, I didn't realize. I thought it might have been out by then. So I think I think it was only £75 you had to spend to get it, which I thought was really good. Yeah, it was a really good price point to get it. And I got it on week 2, which is when it was available, and it was available as well for Ireland when their first store opened. I missed out on that. I don't even think I went over and got it actually. But I will say this: I got a couple of them, and this is the one I opened and I built, and I love it. And I love it because it's very basic. The chassis is ginormous. That is,
it's a 4+ truck.
Yeah,
yes, yeah.
I don't mind it. I don't mind it. I actually thought it was kind of cool, but it's well put together. It's kind of basic. There's a bit of nostalgia there. But what's really nice, and actually it surprised quite a lot of people when I spoke to them about it, is that the panels here are printed.
Yeah.
Printed. So, that's pretty cool. And it looks really nice when it's parked outside a big Lego store as well.
The prints are exclusive, by the way. FYI, have fun.
Makes sense.
I tell you, I'll give him that, right? Because I met Sans not too long ago. Actually, we still had a queen when we met Sans and Claire. So I do wonder if there's a correlation there at all. Just throwing it out there. And anyway, I'm not going to go there. But I just say anyway. So it was. And what was really cool was meeting Claire and Sans, because even to this day, I still think it's really odd that I met them. They were all the way from California. They just kind of seemed to hop on a plane, get to the UK, and I met them in the middle of London over lunch. It was strange.
Nice.
It was.
That's how you get. What were we supposed to do?
Well, I know, but it was just weird seeing a couple of people from California. To this day, I love meeting people in and around the community. Notoriously, of course, they're British or Irish or anything like that. When I went to Ireland, that was awesome. That was, because technically it's just like, it's a different country. It's the Republic of Ireland. And, and just meeting people there that kind of watch you, or, kind of fans, viewers, subscribers, whatever you wish to call them.
That was the meeting everyone was waiting for, though.
I can't believe
when you met Sai.
it took so long to meet Sai. I cannot believe it.
I know. It was weird when I met him. We kept looking at each other and going, "You're really there. You're really there."
Is this a screen?
I know, it's bizarre. It's like, I can touch you. What's going on? But it was great. He's a lovely guy, a lovely family, and they made me feel incredibly welcome. And it was a flying visit, and I could have easily stayed there for a couple of days, quite comfortably. And it didn't rain as well, which was unbelievable. But yeah, it was a really good adventure, and it's just another adventure in this kind of what seems to be this kind of ongoing, developing love of Lego and the brick and stuff like that. It's so cool. It's so cool, and I always like to take different opportunities as and when they come along, if I can. If I think it'll be fun. That's all I do it for. I still do it for fun, really.
Yeah, and as we said it before in episodes a long time ago, and we talked about meeting each other in like IRL, like especially when, like, if I find out someone's coming over here and they have free time and they're a Lego fan and we're actually friends, yeah, I'm gonna make time and go see you. Like, when's that other opportunity gonna happen? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it although you two are very close, like geographically, you're not very close geographically. It takes a minute to get there, and life gets into the way to be able to facilitate time for you to actually meet up. Like, you have to carve out time, which is not easy, especially in adulthood. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not easy. In this day and age, it's not necessarily that cheap either. And you just do your best. You just do it. It was an opportunity to be there as well for the pre-launch of the store, which was nice, and I wanted Sai to be a part of that, and I wanted the Brickbods were going over there as well. At least Carrie was from Brickbods, so I wanted her to be part of that as well. And it was just a really fun thing to do. A good couple of days of just good fun, and good fortune as well, actually, because I kind of asked, is it possible I could go there, because I was going to the Leicester Square one. I got invited to the Leicester Square one to go to the pre-opening the day before it, kind of the grand opening. And then I sort of just a little bit cheeky, and I sort of said, "Was any chance I can go to the one in Ireland as well? That's kind of opening up in a week's time, and I happen to be flying out there." And they come back to me and they said, "Yeah, no problem." So I was like, "Yeah, okay, great. And can I take a couple of people with me?" And they'd be like, "Yeah." I said, "Right, fine. I'll throw the feelers out there, see if anyone's interested." And of course, Brickbods were like, yeah, we want to be there. So Carrie came along to that one. Ian stayed at home looking after his children. I don't think he had the chickens then. And then of course, and then Sai was there too. And it was just great. It was just amazing. And to get to spend some time in that situation with some wonderful people and get to really know them as well. Outside of this thing. Called a PC screen or a mobile phone. It's just a nice thing to do, So yeah, it was a lovely thing. One of the highlights of being kind of invested into the Lego community, certainly for me.
I think having a conversation with like your quote unquote Lego friends about stuff that's not Lego is surreal. You know what I mean? Having genuine conversations with each other.
Yeah,
especially if it's in person.
Yeah, because quite often you had those conversations after a stream or something like that, or even before a stream. Notoriously afterwards. But it's
since when is a Lego conversation not genuine?
I mean,
no, but something. I mean, I can't imagine not having a true Lego. But yeah, I think just a kind of an alternative conversation to Lego is a nice thing. Even like the first thing we did, we said hi, and all this sort of stuff, big hugs and stuff like that, lots of love. And then straight away we went for a coffee, and it was just like, oh, okay, so you like that coffee and you like that coffee and I have this coffee, so, like Sai would have like a black coffee, Lorraine would have a cappuccino, I'd have a flat white. And it's just like suddenly I've kind of gone to new depths of knowing what they like. And do you know what I mean? It's like, it's weird, but it's an everyday thing that we don't know. Like I probably spend at least an hour to an hour and a half a week watching you, Claire, Ninja. I couldn't tell you what coffee you like though. Do you know what I mean? I spend more time with you guys than I do with my mum. So, and to be quite frank, I don't even know what coffee she likes, to be honest. But there we go. That says a lot about that. But you know what I mean? It's just, you know, you get to know people in a different way. Claire, you spent when you guys came over, you know, you spent a little bit of time with tech as well, and so you get to know what makes him tick and things like that, you know, and you know what motivates people and what sort of conversations you have, and also as well you get to work out are people really like what they are in real life, like that, because you know, because when I'm having this is like being on a Zoom call for me. This really is. I'm a Zoom call, a Teams call at work. And everyone's always like, is that Lego you got behind you? And I'm like, yeah. And it's exactly the same. Nothing changes. I can't even bother to fuzz it all out. I really don't. I think it look even weird. But anyway, yeah. So I have it just as it is. Everyone's like, is that a studio you're working in? I'm like, yeah. And it's crazy. But it's true life though, isn't it? It is real life. Real life happens, you know. And that's part and parcel of why I still like doing live streams. And why I like doing stuff like this. You know, and meeting people in real life. It's the fun of doing all that and going out of your way to do it as well. I think it's never an easy peasy thing to do, is it? I think you have to put yourself out there and make a point of it as well. And you know,
it's definitely a commitment.
yeah, 100%.
Definitely commitment. Kudos to you for having it live on a specific time every week.
Yeah.
Luckily for us, we can kind of maneuver timeframes to make it work versus having a show where, because there's a number of shows since yours has released, obviously, what now 2.5 years ago, that do it live, that are consistent. Some have, you know, kind of fell off. It's not easy to to have 4 people sync every week at the same exact time.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
it's a lot of stuff has to happen in our own actual lives.
Yeah, and to be honest, like if you look back through London Calling is actually, bearing in mind this week's London Calling 141, so it's 141 weeks in a row. Never, it's touch wood, never missed a Friday yet. And when I had COVID, the guys covered that as well for me, and it was awesome. It was really kind of them as well, very generous, because time is money and all that kind of stuff. But it has changed. Like if you watch the ones that even like, I don't know, London Calling 35 or something like that, you see the people that are on there that aren't just around anymore. Like Solo Brick Builder, for example, was every week he was on up until about 75, and now of course he's got more going on in his life and more commitments and stuff like that, and he's kind of changed from Lego maybe to more Kobe sort of things, but he's just not as out there as what he was, but he kind of still does his stuff. And I think things change, and you have to change the little bit of format as well, and change things up. I'm really lucky. I've got a backbone of like there's me, Nicole, Sai, and Craig, and then everyone else kind of steams in and stuff like that. And it's just commitment. It is it's a lot of time as well. And I always try and keep it around 2.5 hours if I can, because also you want it to be consumable as well. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, if I do a stream with Hive, excuse me, we can stream for hours. Like, because all you're doing, right, you're just sitting on your backside, right, and you're just putting bits of bricks together. You know, you're not really burning a lot of energy. And as long as you can be fairly entertaining, because I do think we're kind of entertainers to a point. I really do. Yeah. I think you can just go on and on and on, but I try and make it as compact as I can, as long as the energy's there, it kind of always feels good. I think the photos is a good thing. I like people sending me in pictures and showing those off. That always seems to go down really well. And also getting different people on as well, of which this year I've been very lucky to get a couple of people on from Lego itself. So, I mean, I'm just fortunate, and that only comes from, and it's not just a case of going up to people like Stuart Harris and going, "Hey Stuart, how you doing? I'm Greg. Do you want to come on my live stream?" I've got to build a case for it. I've got to, do you know what I mean? I'm not saying that I want to give them something to get out of it themselves. Albeit, I do want them to have some fun. I always want them to have fun. I want, you have to go on a little bit of a charm offensive, and you've got to say as well why. Potentially, I'm not a risk if they come on my stream. It's not going to be a risk to them and things like that, because this is Lego. I'm not even part of RFLM or anything like that. So it's a bit of a chance, but having had Stuart on then kind of paved the way for me to get other people on, like Chris Stamp from Speed Champions. And that was really interesting. And I'm so, whilst I was doing that, one of the highlights for me out of doing that whole stream, which was a really good fun stream, was Ninja was out there as well. And because Ninja, you are like one of my go-to people for Speed Champions. You are.
Right. See, I usually lurk because I'm on my way to work in the mornings on those streams. But that time I was like, I gotta say something. Like talking about Speed Champions, that's my stuff. Now that was a great episode. If you guys haven't watched that one, by the way, after this, definitely go check that last episode out of London Calling. Interesting stuff.
And it was, and we learned some really interesting stuff, like antidotes and stuff like that. Like for example, what when you finish a Lego set, notoriously you've got a few pieces left over. In house, they call that an overdose. Which I think what, but it is. They called it an overdose of bricks, and I was like, "God, that's a good term." And they've heard of that one before in the old Brictionary and things like that. And then, of course, he gave us the story as well, because this is what everyone thought. Everyone thought that this part here, see that part there? Everyone thought that was put there on purpose as a pistol for James Bond, because, of course, what they did do, didn't they? They gave him a wrench. Now, if you look back all the James Bonds since the 60s, I don't think James Bond's ever particularly been issued a wrench or anything like that. Certainly, I can't remember Emmett issuing a wrench for any particular reason, and certainly it used the AA or something like that if he broke down in his Aston Martin. But anyway, it just all it was, right, was it just happened to be that piece was part and parcel of the overdose of bricks, and that was one of them. And it so happens to look a little bit like a pistol. And so everyone went with that. And I thought that was a really good little story to learn from. And you kind of, he was quite candid as well, which was, I was amazed. I was like, I always said to him, like, if you ever, we won't press you on things, but he went to places that I didn't think he'd go. And also as well, you get to learn a little bit about his team, what they get up to throughout the year, and what other things he's worked on as well. Like Ninjago, he was the guy that designed Destiny's Bounty for the Ninjago movies. I mean, that is a really good set as well. It's a beautiful set. It's one of my favorite ships in Lego. And he does art as well. He did the Marilyn Monroe art. So I was like,
that's
they're all things that we know. So it was cool. It was one of those that was a very easy guest to have on, and I'll have him on again in January when we've seen some of the new Speed Champions that come out in the new year. So day one for me, I'll be getting the modular, and of course I'll be getting the Speed Champions as well. So
that's what I like to hear. Nice.
Yeah, man, definitely. So it's good fun. It's good fun.
Finding guests is not easy.
No,
like at least for what I do, I shotgun blast. Like when I get to a certain point where I'm like, we have 1 week of a guest, so I need to start asking, and I just start going on the phone of people who I like have in mind in the back of the head, or I need to maybe ask a friend to fill in or whatever. As I've already sent out 10 messages, I just kind of fill them in as they come, as they go. Because I would love to have a lot of content creators that are out there to come on the show. That'd be great. Just different people. But one, we've never actually physically met, like online. Like we never had a conversation before. So that's one thing. Two, like you don't know how they're going to be when they're actually having a conversation with you. Because they don't like either, kind of speak to the camera as much, or they're on Instagram a lot, or, whatever. There's a lot of other variables there that, it could be a risk. One of the hard parts of having a show that really focuses on a conversation is that you need to be able to have a conversation. And like, there's been episodes here where I'm like in the episode where I have to cut out a lot of stuff, and not necessarily what's said. It's just gaps or the filler words like and, used every other sentence, where it could, if you're listening to this through an audio outlet, like it can get really monotonous or boring, or like it's just not something that you would like to listen to. Whereas if I were to cut them all out, it actually sounds very fluid. So that's another risk that I think about. I'm like, can you carry a conversation on your own? And Greg, you already do that. Like we've been sitting here for 30 minutes and all you've been doing is talking on your own, which is making it a lot easier on Claire, Ninja, and I. So, which you do great, like already, like throughout your shows, like every London Calling, you carry the conversation, you maneuver, you make sure everyone's engaged and involved. Like you literally maneuver them around. We're like, oh, I haven't heard anything from this person. Let me just get this person out and like, let's have them add to the conversation when they're just kind of building inside.
That is one of my favorite things. You'll throw a random question to a random
yeah. You just do you like have a list of like
no they come completely random because someone will just say something and I'll be like, I don't know, it could be an impression of something, do you know what I mean? Or it'd be like, what's your favorite chicken or something like that? Have you got a favorite chicken?
Yeah.
It's completely random. It's only because someone's just put it there in my head and I'm just like, oh, we're going around the panel, let's just ask everyone. You know, or equally it could be like, well, you know, what's your favorite speed champions car or something like that. And
like, I probably have like a checklist, like, okay, this person hasn't said anything wrong, like check. Okay, this person said something, check. Okay, this person hasn't said anything in the past 3. Let me just rope them in with one of A, B, or C questions. Like it's so fluid. I
try and maneuver because the thing, like for example, let me think. Like say Barry, who was on a few weeks ago, formerly known as Food and Brikx. He's changed his name a few times, but anyway, everyone calls him Bazza. And the thing was, right, he's not really into space stuff or anything like that, but obviously he's massive into Castle and things like that. So what we all have in common, no matter what Lego set we would buy or something like that, at least I could pull him in on sort of like a buying experience and things like that. So there's always those commonalities of what people do and how we do it, and the feeling of it. I mean, do you know what I mean? It's just an easy way to bring people in. There's a bit of spontaneity about it because, and I also as well, I don't want people to be too comfortable when they come on. I actually want people to be kind of on a bit of alert because when I first started London Corner, I just used to bring people on. I used to always pick on the people that looked like they weren't ready to come on. And I don't know why, but I just used to do it. But it meant people were like, you know, awake and on it. Now what I do is that I ask people to sort of, okay, where would you like to go in the world? Because that's the other thing, you see. I like to sort of spread the net and get people in from all over the planet if you can. Like you got people from New Zealand that come on, people from Australia, America, Canada, everywhere like that. And it's really nice because it's a nice wide net. I got someone coming on this week from Denmark, never been on before, so I'm looking forward to that. Zabadek, his name is. And it's just the interesting thing with getting all these different people on. We all do the same thing. We all do it slightly differently, and that's the sort of thing. That's the bit that makes it interesting. And it's ourselves. It's the people that make it interesting. Everyone's got their own particular style, and I try and tap into that. And I just basically do want to shine the light on everyone, and it's not even like to make them popular or anything like that. I just want people to know them. They're people that interest me. See, the thing is, right, I'm not. I was always brought up I think when I was a kid, like my parents said, you've got to be the best at everything. You've got to try and be the best at everything you can be and stuff like that. And I never was because I kind of sort of went the other way. I rebelled. And but what I did learn is as I got older, I always wanted to surround myself with people that are more clever than I am. And that's what I always try and do. Or at least try and get people on that I think will add something to the conversation and will be a good blend. And quite often we get like 9 people on, and I always try and make it 7, but somehow it always seems to get to 9. And you know, and it's really cool because not everyone's sort of jumping over everyone to have a conversation or anything like that. And what was really interesting about getting Chris on a couple of weeks ago was the enthusiasm that everyone had. Because everyone wanted to ask him questions. That was one that I'd done notes for. I'd researched Chris like a good, and the brilliant thing about having Chris on was that I had a conversation with him lunchtime to do like a connection test. Because I always want people to be comfortable when they come on, know what to expect and stuff like that. And oh my God, he was like, we chatted for like an hour and 15 minutes. I said, God, be honest, Chris, we could have just done this tonight. I could have just filmed this and they've thrown this out as London Calling tonight, just me and him. So it is the different people bring different things to it, and it's been too long since I've had you on one, and Claire and Ninja as well. Ninja always seems to come on my ones on the weekend, but
Sneak in there, yeah.
We all know each other and stuff like that, and it's just nice. It's I'm kind of like a steady stream, so to speak, in metaphorically speaking, and probably practically speaking as well. In the kind of Lego community,
you're definitely I would say a staple in the community, because you're even like I can't think of any other like live stream that happens that's like as international. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, you have people from all over the world that come in, and like you said, they always have different perspectives, and then you get people like designers on there. It's different compared to all the other streams out there.
Yeah, and that's what makes it interesting. Are those perspectives, and because everyone's got an opinion on stuff, and everyone's normally speaking, quite respectful, especially when it's been a designer or something like that. And but I want the viewers, to get something out of it as well, because I'm just as enthralled to have these people on, and I'm always excited to have like Sion, and that's why I always ask people like, why, what have you been up to this week and stuff like that. And we all have slow weeks, we all have really good weeks, and some weeks they're less so, and sometimes we just want to got to sort out loads of Lego, which means you're not going to get any content done that week. It's just like I'm forever looking. This week, for example, I'm on holiday this week, and I've spent about 5 hours so far on my week building my Millennium Falcon, and I'm going to finish it tomorrow. And Claire, I started that. I think it was Boxing Day. So the 26th of December, 2021, I started that, and I'm going to finish it on the 13th of October.
Do you think you'll finish it before the next Boxing Day?
I'm going all out on it. I really am. I really am. In fact, you know what? When I was on this last, it was episode 28. Do you know what I had in the background? I was in a different studio for a start. I was upstairs, which is still a thing. Right. I do use it. I still use it occasionally. And I had a box there. The box in the background was Assembly Square, and I'm like, yes, I've got it here. I actually built it. It took me ages, but I built it. And I'm not the fastest. I'm not prolific or anything like that. But I like doing vlogs. I love doing live streams. I like doing. Do you know what though? As much as I like doing live streams with loads of people, because I'm like gregarious by name, gregarious by nature, I suppose you could say, I do like doing them on my own as well. I truly enjoy it. Just doing it, doing it on my own, and just again, you could just be anything. And again, that's when people get to see maybe another side of you, but equally the same side. It's still me. I mean, Claire's met me in person, so hopefully I'm not too dissimilar. That's what I am.
I would say you're exactly as expected. Maybe a little bit taller.
Yeah, I tell you what, I don't think I'm quite as tall as Sans, and I'm about that much shorter than Tech. But Tech, he wears there's a lot of rubber on his trainers. That's all I'm going to say to that. But he's a diamond geezer, he really is. But I mean, I've been working on my city for God knows how long. Lagondon at the moment is a train track.
I thought it was something we didn't talk about anymore.
We still love it.
It's there. No, it's there. I'm looking at it all the time, and I just look at it going, I'm so sorry. I'm like saying sorry to the minifigures that are on the train station that are continuously waiting for a train to appear. I've got the Destiny's Bounty there and the Galaxy Explorer behind it, and Buckingham Palace is there as well, when I got it out to a few weeks ago for all the stuff going on here with the Queen and the King and stuff. But I got 10 meals plates set up and stuff like that. I try and do it. Everyone's heard of it, but it's just, and then next year I'll be like, oh yeah, I'll really push it out and try and do more and things like that. And it's just what you get caught up in. It's like my videos always used to be a bit too long. I always felt, albeit they're kind of done well retrospectively, but I do like doing my vlogs. That's always insanely good fun. I'm really messing around with shorts quite a lot at the moment. I find the short form factor really good, because Claire, I was always desperate to want to do reviews. I know a lot of people sort of don't really like doing reviews anymore, or just have got the go-to people to listen to their reviews. But I thought I want to do something differently. What's kind of interesting with the short form factor for me, anyway, has been that I've been able to do reviews. I wasn't able to do them before, but I still wanted to do them a little bit different, So I wanted to come up with something that I could use as a kind of a mechanism, a framework for coming up with a review. So I called it The Good, the Bad, and the Build. Something very simple,
nice.
fairly memorable, and I've gone with that. And it's actually, they've attracted some quite good attention actually at the moment, which has kind of been interesting. Some attention that I never thought I'd ever get. It's kind of useful, and so at the moment I'm sort of tweaking that, almost kind of working out an anatomy. I guess it's kind of like a funny way of trying to work out the algorithm. But yeah, there is, and of course, Shy, you're doing all sorts of things with shorts at the moment, with your bouncy wording and things like that. I always find when I'm
doing that. Well,
Dude.
so I started about like a month and a half ago. I started playing with, like, experimenting with stuff just because I wanted to. Like, for example, the way I do my thumbnails, the way I add those words, like the titles. Like, I've been playing with a lot of stuff, and then what I noticed is that the words added 10 to 15% higher in retention, and I'm like, crap. So I can't go out of it. So I'm like, it does help a lot with retention rate with those words. It's disgusting.
It does. But the thing is, though, it's just another thing you have to do. Like I haven't. I mean, I started doing a couple with, but it's just very basic wording. To be honest, there's nothing. I certainly do. When I watch your shorts, I'm like, I'm doing this because the letters.
Yeah,
like so I tend to find I'm doing it, but it is attention holding. That is for sure.
And I gotta say,
I'm waiting for the programs to have that automatically like inserted. I know there are apps that will do that. Like I use Motion to be able to edit that, and then it automatically inserts the Final Cut. So like, but I still individually have to like type them in. It doesn't automatically generate whatever is said. But like, what's been really fun is I've been doing the Cali Brick Clique stuff.
They're good. They're brilliant.
I have like 8 ready, and I've just been throwing them out there. But like literally, I mean, I already like hyper analyze what Claire, myself, Ninja, and the guests say every episode, just because like I have to like pay attention to that. But now I'm like super like, what did he say, or what did Claire just say? Just keep playing it back and forth, and then like at a certain point, I'm like, I'm just gonna make up something.
I was just gonna bring that up.
It's true though. It's true because I use so to take a set that I did recently, Ambush on Brikx. I did a review on that. So what happens is I do it. Everything. The main thing is that the main production is for YouTube. So I've done it. I popped it out on YouTube. I didn't put no words on it or anything like that. I just let it go and do its own thing. And it did relatively well. And then I give it about 2 days of breathing on YouTube. And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to put it on. What did I put it on next? I put it on Reels on Instagram. And I let it do its own words. So it does the captions for you. The only thing is there's a minifigure in it, arguably the best minifigure, called Cyril Khan. And but for the love of God, right? And the amount of times I changed it about 4 times. I kept trying to redo it. It kept, instead of putting Cyril, the name, which is Cyril, kept putting Cyril. So it was like, oh. So anyway, I just had to go with it in the end. But in TikTok,
you could edit it on Reels.
See, I didn't know you could do that. I thought you could only do that in TikTok. I didn't know.
You edit it on Reels. Yeah, you have to like scroll, like to hold it, and then you have to scroll up to where it says that, and you can just type it.
Oh, well, there you go. See, the tips and tricks on Cali Brick Clique. I love it.
It's not like they don't teach you that. It's just like it's not even easy to figure that out. I did that by accident.
Oh, okay. So I did it on TikTok as well, and I'm not joking. I mean, I've only ever put about 15 videos out on TikTok, like really, really low level ones, like very quick ones. But this one was like a sort of more of a high production one. I used their version of captions, which I worked out how to edit that quite quickly, which was cool. And that one's done really, really well. That's like literally double the amount of followers that I've got. So, I mean, there is something to be said as well. I mean, YouTube it still takes ages to get people subscribing and joining you and stuff like that. Whereas those other ones, well, it's a lot quicker. So I can see why people would kind of maybe gravitate over to Instagram and maybe TikTok first as well, and then kind of come over to YouTube. But
there are different audiences. They're not the same.
No, they are different. But the shorts can be something that you can kind of connect through, and the right short, I think, works as a TikTok, as a reel. But like, for example, this was the thing. My mum came over. She knows nothing about what I do on anything like that in the brick world. She thinks she's like, I tell her start talking to my mum about Lego, and I can just literally feel the eyes rolling. I really can. When my mum rolls her eyes, right, it sounds like a gravestone, Dracula's gravestone being opened. You know that sound of stone grinding. Anyway, that's what my mum's eyes sound like. And I said, look, mum, this is the video I created, and it's basically Clay, do you remember when you was in Leicester Square, and there's the Royal Guard? There's a great big statue. It's about that tall.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I got the little one from Hamleys, and I put it on top, and it was that classic one where it says, "Oh, look at the little baby," and then I pan back, "Oh, look at the big baby," and it goes, "Wow," and all this sort of thing. And that was all I did. I mean, albeit when I was in there, I did it about 20 times to make sure I had some options to choose from and make sure I liked the shot and the frame and everything like that. Honestly, folks, if you want to have some fun, some entertainment, watch a YouTuber in a Lego store trying to get something right. And honestly, and I did it. And I said, look, honestly, Mum, this will probably do quite well. And I'm not joking, right? I was like a real proud son. As soon as I put it out there, first 15 minutes, it got like 6,000 views. And she was gobsmacked. And then after about an hour, that was it. It got about 7,000. It just died a death. And it was nice to show her what it can be like. And she's like, 6,000 people watch that. And I'm like, yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? But it was a fun thing to do. And I definitely have a different production value for YouTube than I do on anything else. Because otherwise you just end up spending so much time doing something that doesn't necessarily reap the rewards that it is necessarily worth. Do you know what I mean? But
yeah,
I think Instagram, for me anyway, personally, I used to use Instagram as a bit of this is what I'm up to at the moment, folks. This is what I'm doing. And sometimes it becomes a reel or something like that, or I think of something funny that kind of works. I mean, how about you guys? I mean, Claire, you're definitely doing a bit more on Instagram, and you definitely are.
The reel yesterday, I watched it 15 times automatically just listening to it.
Isn't that so satisfying? Yeah, Instagram, I've always, even like when I used to like be really heavy on my personal Instagram, I used to just always like share stuff. It's just such a low barrier of entry and low effort thing to do that it's just like really fun. It's like a nice like touch point. And it's also like how I can share like designs that I'm working on, or if I'm, ever, slot out some time for videos again, like that's really where I like to share that. Yeah. It's also like I see it as like an access point to me.
Yeah.
And like other parts of my life that are like not Lego, and it kind of like rounds out who I am as a person. Like I share other things that I love, like my family and my other hobbies. But yeah, I think that's like how I see it. I see it as like just like
secondary. Is it a secondary?
It's a secondary, yeah. Like YouTube is always going to be my primary, simply because I've like kind of put it on a pedestal in terms of like the highest amount of effort, the highest value of views, the highest value of subscribers. It is like, and for me personally, it's like the hardest thing for me to do, which is like find the time, carve it out, film, edit, upload, all that stuff. That is like a very intense challenge for me. And so that's why like I've elevated it. And I know people like deal with things in different ways. And then like Instagram is just, you just grab my phone. It's like, it's almost thoughtless, not that it shouldn't be, not that it should be thoughtless. Like there's definitely, and we've talked about it here before, especially with like Emily and stuff, like there's a strategy to being incredibly intentional with your Instagram. And I guess like my strategy is just like showing another side of me and like rounding out my personality so that people are invested in me as a person and not just something like whatever products that I'm putting out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I think people can easily forget that you are a person. You do other things, and you can enjoy other things. I go into London very early, and I enjoy watching the sun come up on a beautiful morning, coming over Tower Bridge. And I'm like, I'll take a picture of it and then throw it out there. And so it's something like that, the view from London Bridge this morning. And but it is an insightful thing. It's definitely secondary, but it is a road that leads to YouTube. And it's nice when you can almost use it as a way of teeing up things that are coming. as well. Like London Calling, I start promoting that from about Tuesday.
We know.
I pick the track of music that I'm going to use that week. I've picked the background. Actually, I get my members to choose the background this week. I emailed Craig, or rather, I should say, I messaged Craig earlier on this week. I said, here you go. I got four background pictures. I didn't tell him what I was going to use them for. I said, what's your favorite and why? And he went, I like the one by 4Brick. I said, why is that? He says, because it's very useful. I said, right, okay, great. That's what I'll use this week as the backtrack. So without him realizing, he was having input into how London Calling was kicking off this week. I chose the tracks. Well, it's just easy, isn't it? I go on iTunes. I go, right, what's the top 40 tracks being played in London at the moment? This week it was Sam Smith. So I was like, right, fine, I'll go with Sam Smith. I quite like that track. Unholy, which believe me, folks, the amount of money we all spend on Lego is a bit unholy, to be honest. And and it just goes off like that. Everyone's teed up. Everyone knows who's coming on. I'll answer various questions from different people throughout the week, and it just simmers. It just simmers, and then Friday comes, and then boom, we can explode into enjoying the celebration. That's the weekend kicking off. You know, it's kind of nice. But I like Instagram serves a really good purpose, and it does stuff that YouTube just doesn't do. And if I was starting out, I would say Instagram's the place to go to start off.
We saw a lot of that. We saw a lot of that with the pandemic. A lot of people who came into the space came through Instagram, and I felt like the YouTubers were like yanking them to come over here.
Yeah. That's because everyone was going to be going over to Twitch and things like that. But that's kind of, I don't know, Twitch doesn't seem to be the utopia that people thought it once was.
I don't know, man. They're about to get sued hard. So
downhill.
Oh, okay. I like seeing people on Twitch and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong, but it's never interested me in going over to that platform. And I've got no qualms with that platform whatsoever. I'm not even like one of these people that says, I don't know what I'm watching when they're watching live streams on it or anything like that. But I'm just like, I just focused on that, Instagram, a little bit of TikTok now. And I still do Twitter as well. Though, and that, again, that's kind of useful for just advertising, really, and maybe commenting on the odd thing as well. But it's just another doorway to maybe getting other people in. But you are right though. But you know, sometimes you guys get people on here, and I sort of think to myself, oh yeah, they'd be quite good on London Calling or something like that. And I'll find them on another stream or something like that, you know, like a couple of brickheads, and getting one or two of those guys on as well.
But see, that's you're kind of, we're using each other to vet how they can hold.
100%.
That's the hard part, is if you bring someone new, and they don't make a lot of content that you can kind of see how they're going to be, whether that be on Instagram Live or anywhere else, that person held a good conversation. That person sounds interesting. Let's kind of, I want to dive into what that person said a little bit more, and then all of a sudden they're in the community. Oh,
dude, 100%. I mean, I've been trying to get Beam Me Up Scotty on forever, and
hard one.
He is, because he's in Hong Kong. He's 8 hours ahead of me, and it just, the time, like London Calling just isn't going to work for anyone in HK, and I'm just sort of like, okay, one day when I do a random stream at a random time, I'll see if he fancies joining. But I can't do an LC for him because he's just not in the. It'd be like 5 o'clock in the morning, which some of the Australians are up to about 4:30 with me. But it's just one of those things. It can be a time zone thing, and it can be just how do people react in that circumstances. Because I get people, because the funny thing with YouTube is that just because you are good at making videos does not mean that you're going to translate well when it comes to doing live streams and things like that. It's a different kettle of fish. It's almost like a YouTube Mark II, almost, I
was kind of thinking the opposite of that for what Shy was saying, because you can go and check someone's videos, but then when you get them on the live stream, they could be totally different. You're like, dang, that's not what I thought you was gonna be like.
Yeah, and that is the thing. And it was even harder back in the days that if people didn't want to show their faces or anything like that, and it just made gauging their thoughts so much harder, because quite often you would look at their body language or anything like that and try and gauge it that way.
And stay stoic. It's like I'm made of plastic.
Yeah. It's hard. All I know is that you got some big cheesy green ninja. I don't know what's going on in the background. But yeah, I'm loving the
That's
loving
my
the
Lego bag.
It is. And I'm loving the Lego bag in the background as well. Claire looks like she's got a container on its side. I thought, oh, is that a Lego bag, or is that just some sort of toolbox with Lego on it or something like that?
No, we've been in Florida for a few weeks now, and it's been really fun because we brought very little Lego. I brought like the orchid and like a little mock thing that I'm working on, and then we've bought Lego here. We've bought like a lot of Lego, but we've also like, it's kind of been fun to like start our collection a little bit over, and Sans has been documenting it. Anyway.
Starting over.
Are you going to
not really start over, but it feels like
Oh.
it. It feels like it. No, we're not doing two separate collections. No.
Okay.
But
That'll be
but
cool,
we were
though.
able. What's fun is like my favorite grocery store
magazine.
is Whole Foods because I'm pretentious, but they had these at Whole Foods, which is really fun.
Yeah, that's
And,
unusual.
Yeah, Holly gave us this as a gift, so Sans built that,
Well, good
and
sale
then
at the moment.
Sans he finally found like the 3 sets in 1 stunts pack at the Walmart exclusive,
Walmart.
and so now he has a briefcase.
Nice.
So yeah,
That's
and anyway, so we've
His
been
world
like
is
putting,
complete.
like, anyway, that's fun. So yeah, so we also have Lego. Okay, so
We also
He's
have Lego.
he literally just picked up the lighthouse and just like showed it to like a neighbor. So yeah.
Friends.
That's how we make. That's how we know how to make friends. is make people-
Yeah.
Oh,
You can shine the light out the lighthouse over to their house at night.
apparently, yeah, that's
mean,
exactly how
It's a good
we
thing he
make
went
friends.
That's why you need to wear
lighthouse.
Lego apparel when you walk around in public.
That's why we have to
No.
wear Lego. Oh my god.
Represent.
I do represent the gym. No one's come up to me in the gym lately, so it's all good,
That's it. They think you're a dark knight of sorts or something.
right? They're like, what is
That's even more points though when they do come up and recognize your shirt.
right?
You're like,
I mean, I
bro.
get super happy when someone comes up to me and they're like, "Oh, Lego."
That's it. If you know, you know.
Right.
It's one of
Yeah.
those situations, isn't it? But so Shy, how is the army coming along then? Like, you know, you've got this vast Black Knight army. I mean, how's it going? I haven't heard too much about it over the last few weeks or something.
It's
So,
the next video that's coming out.
oh, hello.
Oh, okay.
So
Some diversity
yeah.
in the
I'm about to change over every yellow out of it. So
Are we
Really?
gonna get a Mickey Knight still?
I don't know. I
You-
lost her. I don't know where my Mickey Knights are. Mickey and Minnie Knights.
Are you doing the hands as well? Or are you just
No, they
focusing
all
on
wear
the
gloves, so they don't.
Ah,
They don't need
that's
to
good.
wear.
Yeah,
That,
me.
yeah, I don't need to worry about the hands. That's too much. The
Yeah.
head thing's already enough as it is to go through all 1,200 of them at this point.
So why are you doing that? Because Lego is diversifying at the moment. I mean, we've got this foosball, or as we call it over here, table football that's come out, and that's got some distinct distinctions about it. I mean, the set doesn't interest me at all. I will
I
say
just want
that,
the pigs.
but
all I
the
want
figures
is
do
the
interest.
pigs.
Yeah, it's the figures that
hair
like that as
pieces.
well, and the of diversity in that. You got a face. In there that's got the
logo?
pigmentation, yeah,
Oh,
which
yeah,
I think is really good, and also as well, one of the figures in there's got a hearing aid as well. So I think that's pretty cool, and I like that. I like diversity.
So I had like a little. So with this set, like that came out, and I'm looking at it, and I'm going to talk about it in the video, but like I'm not going to attribute it to the video that I made like a year and a half ago, but at the same time, there's a lot of us who were advocating for more. Skin variations, because
Yeah.
obviously there was a discrepancy with like, who has more variety with their facial expressions. And at summer of last year or spring of last year is when there were a lot of people posting on Instagram and like just adding more to it and then all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I was told that Lego was acknowledged it and they were paying attention to all the content that was shared. And now we're starting to see like if Lego has the ability to add like something specific like that, they're going to. They probably won't do it in the city set, but if they can do it, obviously they're doing it with the battle packs. 'Cause essentially, you don't really need to do anything with the stormtroopers. You just give them one simple face underneath and call it a day because you're not going to see their underneath the helmet. But they're intentionally trying to spread the load of inventory throughout the different skin tones and the facial expressions and the gender. And a lot of people are pissed off at this set for downsizing, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of other variables that I think were discussed in other places where like they were told how much the set was going to cost, and then that's what they work off of. That's what they get in the very beginning as designers, and then they kind of they go off of that. And then I guess like they were like, oh, we didn't spend that much. We're not going to go back and forth. Let's just add a bunch of figures to, get to that price point that they were supposed to be at from the very beginning. They can't change their price point at all. They're like that's where it is. We were told it was going to be $300 US. You can't change it. You have to go through like the board or something crazy to make them change the price point to something cheaper. So they added that little extra piece of like minifigs, which I know a lot of people are still pissed about because it's like, I wanted the big giant foosball table. Me? I don't have anywhere to put a big giant foosball table. Yeah, so like, not saying I'm gonna buy it or anything, but like a little foosball table with a bunch of those figs, I think justifiable to an extent. But I am happy that Lego is trying to find a way to encompass other.
And that for me, the skin tones in the minifigures is what makes that set interesting.
They could have gone all yellow.
They could have done them all yellow, and we wouldn't have had anything interesting to necessarily say about that set. They've pushed the envelope a bit, and they've taken a set that a lot of people are not going to be happy that they've changed it from what is original conception to what it is now. But of course, there's always reasons for it, and I think the AFOLs was one of the main reasons for that, running across the table, and that's fair enough. There's all design constraints and stuff like that, and it is what it is, and we either like it or we don't. For me, it's another one of those nice to have sets. You got the typewriter, it's a nice to have set. You got the grand piano, nice to have set. You got the jazz quartet, very much that's in a nice to have set. So even Optimus Prime to a certain degree, because that is being discounted here like you wouldn't believe at the moment. They're 25% off, free t-shirts with it, all sorts of things they're doing with that. So
free t-shirts.
Free t-shirts over here. Xavier doing a free t-shirt with it as well. So, and it actually looks quite good. I'm almost interested, but it's kind of interesting to see where it goes. That might be one of those sets that you sort of think at the last minute, just as it's about to retire, I'll get that, because I'm pretty certain one day that could be something. It's going to be one of those sets that hardly anyone ever bought, but it's going to be worth quite a lot of money. Yeah. In the future, potentially a bit like Queer Eye. I think that's 50% off here. That is, it's a really good set. Good minifigures. Again, some interesting ones in there as well that really do stand out. There's some interesting pieces. So I've got one that I'm going to build, and another one that I'll just put away for a rainy day one day. But it's like literally 50% off, and that's from the Lego store. The Lego store seems to be doing some bigger discounts now than ever before. I don't know if that's their if they're combating something like
I need to clear their shelves.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, because for holiday and January 1st.
Yeah,
they need to get out their Q4 stuff and then call it. So I feel like some sets like that have been sitting on the shelf, that the inventory is just too much. They have to move it. Like that's the only way. I mean, it hurts them to do that because it then creates a precedence for like the other retailers to mark it down to, like Walmart, Target, or what you guys have over there. So it's not a good sign. It's a bad sign.
Well, no, it's not good. But then maybe Lego need to sort of look at themselves, because I mean, I know they're our subjects are going all over the place today. I mean, I'm liking this with Lego to a certain degree. They've had it pretty good for the last few years. I mean, they could put out anything and it was going to sell to a certain degree. The first quarter of this year, the results are in. They're still good. They're still really good. High demand and stuff like that. I think when we get to the first quarter of next year, and we get that retrospective look back at the figures, I think there will be a big drop off then. I think it has to be. The world has changed again over the last couple of years, and certainly in the last 6 months. And I think there will be that in place. I think there will be a bit of a drop off, and they kind of. Am I slightly worried about it? I'm interested to know how Lego react to it.
A lot of us were like kind of thinking that they're spending too much money in other places, that it's not necessary, overcharging the fans, all that kind of stuff. In my mind, recently, I'm like, they know that's going to happen. They know they're going to drop. So if we made $5 billion in this past quarter, let's invest it back into ourselves, like with Meta or with building the factories, all that kind of stuff. Let's throw it in now to compensate that we might need for it in the future, which will be the next upcoming, fiscal year. It'll be different if they didn't put it. And also this past year, they also threw a lot of money at children around the world who needed it. So that's another thing that we all kind of forgot about. But I feel like maybe they are reinvesting into themselves just to help market themselves. And then if they market themselves correctly in the next upcoming years, then they'll have the facilities to be able to meet that type of demand, to garnishing like the trend of whatever they do that's going forward. So I don't know. I'm hoping they're being strategic about it, and I'm hoping they're aware that they are not gonna be, or they might not. I'm not gonna say not, but they might not be as profitable as the past 2 years. Because I mean, I'm sure every company is aware that of the trends that is going on in the market in like around the world, and the possibilities that can happen going forward with
It was very close last week. The dollar and the pound were like this. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, it's a lot. The economy is very shaky, and then like the world is kind of shaky. This is probably this is kind of scary time to be living right now. So
it is. I genuinely think it is though. And I've kind of felt this kind of dodgy vibe since around January the 1st. In all honesty, when I went to the Lego store and I was like, what? The pad wall's gone up 25%. Why is this? And that was when we saw the first price hike came out of nowhere for us. Like there was no warning or anything like that. And you saw that was okay. It was kind of normalized over after a couple of months and stuff like that.
Yeah, you're gonna get used to it.
but you do. You just get normalized to it. That's the thing. And now. I mean, our economy is up and down. Like you wouldn't believe. The Bank of England keeps stepping in, and the cost of borrowing of our country is going up. And I'm not saying it's bleak or anything like that, because most countries do have to borrow quite a lot. But it does kind of chip away a little bit at the amount of spare money you have at the end of the month to devote to your hobby, your collection. So you have to be more strategic potentially in what you're buying and things like that. And it kind of sucks, it really does, because we always want things to be cheaper and stuff like that, but it's not really going to be the case. But I will say this, I mean, Lego have come up with some great sets this year. And yeah, I don't know. They just need to, can you please come out with some cheaper sets though, please, Lego? There's a lot of £400 ones, it feels like, that are out there.
They still do the cheaper sets. It's just that we're so like, look at this, another $400 or $500 set that really, I don't think it's their intention for us to keep buying all the expensive sets.
Yeah.
Which we, as in like high affinity users, would like want to consume every single large Lego set. I think they know that that's not the demographic they're trying to like, but it's a good thing in a way where we're as a collective, we are realizing that it's not a good idea to buy every single large Lego set. We should probably tone it back. It
isn't. But then saying that, people that don't necessarily buy sets, people like, say, Claire, potentially that are more into doing mocks and things like that. Mocking is really expensive. That can be mega bucks. So, it's the value that you get out of whatever it is that you're doing at the time. And it is, and next year is going to be an interesting one, because I feel, I don't know about you guys, right? But I feel there's been a bit of a drop-off of people that are in the community, especially the YouTube community anyway, that kind of got in on it on the pandemic time. And I think the tide's sort of almost gone out a little bit. There's loads of people seem to have dropped off. And
especially with the price increase. I've heard a lot of people say like, oh, I'm out. Like, it's not worth it.
Yeah. And it feels like the community is getting a little bit smaller. But it's like all good things. It's like breathing, in and out and stuff like that. It will expand again another time. And we've all, Lehman Brothers in 2008, and there's been crashes, and everything goes around in cycles. It really does. Exactly. And it's just like Lego, I suppose. It wasn't a million years ago that Lego was in financial difficulties, and then boom, look at them today. They're doing pretty damn well. Especially in China. Blimey, they seem to really be focusing in China quite a lot with the stores that they're opening out there, and that's cool. They're hedging their bets, which is nice to see.
Like I said, I feel like a lot of that's intentional. So let's just see how that goes. But we've like you just said, just to kind of conclude that, like, we've seen the community grow back and forth. We've seen Lego grow back and forth, but like in the end, like, you're still weathering the storm with 142 episodes. 43. Where you at?
This week 141.
141. Okay, I was close. And for us too, we're almost at 100. And it's not easy to get to. It's very the honeymoon stage is obviously awesome when anything new that you start, but just like anything else, it's like it does take work to keep going. Yeah. And I'm happy with what's happening within the community with each other. It's forged a lot of new relationships, and shout out to Tiago for that shout out. So you're trying to get us to 1,000. I really appreciate that. And we all appreciate that. So
definitely.
Hey, YouTube's just started a new thing with podcasts, so that's the reason why I'm also trying to push it.
Hey, see, I'm telling you, YouTube is trying to monopolize.
There's a new beta section with podcasts.
Oh, is there? Okay.
Yeah. You know what? Which I was going to tell you. I'm like, maybe you should start uploading them.
Well, it was funny because Chris, when he was on the other day, he called it a podcast. I was like, not a podcast. And then afterwards, I was kind of thinking about it. I was like, I don't know, what would it sound like in audio? Because the last sort of 10 episodes of Cali Brick Clique I've listened to on iTunes, and it's really strange because I get like obviously I'm visually looking at what you guys are up to and things like that. So I'm really much more focused on the sound effects and stuff like that. So I always know when there's trouble coming, because for Shy, it will be like there's a kid screaming in the background every now and again. I'm sure that was one of Shy's kids, and then Shy goes quiet for a little bit, and then Claire there'll be like a meow happening or something like that, and it'll be like, oh, the cat's coming around, and it's like that music in Jaws, when it goes, and then he's. Was that, and then Ninja? Well, Ninja's Ninja. You never know what he's up to. But yeah, it is a grind. But I do enjoy it. I still get as much out of it now as I did then, and it helps me because I'm on this constant learning curve of Lego. That I still get to learn new stuff every week, and what helps with that is the variable people that I get on as well. And that's what kind of makes it interesting. Diversity does kind of push that envelope and make life just more interesting. It just would be nice if everyone thought the same thing as well. But I do like it. I was, I was watching a couple of Brickheads, and I was they were doing a thing on the top 5 good-looking YouTubers, and man, first of all, I was a bit disappointed because I wasn't on it, so thank you for that, a couple of Brickheads. Secondly, I thought, blimey, Tech's not even on it, so that made me feel a lot better straight away, because I think he's a little bit better than a little bit. I'm probably about 30 years older than what he is anyway, and secondly, I can't believe I got outdone by Doc. Which by the way, folks, he wears a wig. Come on. So I'm just saying.
Natural.
That hair ain't natural.
I remember when Sean was talking about that, I was like, I don't know, dude. I don't know if you should do this. It's not something I recommend. It's going to start a lot of flack, and the way they did it was like, okay, that's fine.
That was okay, because even I was like, as soon as they started it, I was like, oh, come on. There we go. It's
even the trolling up to number 1. Oh, what the hell?
That was
it was well done. It was really well done. But I like the different formats. Like you say, some assembly required as well. I think that's going to make there's going to be a some assembly required version 3 coming out any time now.
By this time, they should have seen it yesterday, I think.
Yeah.
Hopefully, you guys are paying attention.
Yeah. So
we will see. There's a third member now, so we'll get to see who that could be.
Who that silhouette is?
Yeah, that's it. There's only one person I know with that silhouette, or why should I say one vegetable that I think with that silhouette?
Right. I straight up put it on there. I'm like, is it?
Yeah, I saw, and then I messaged him. I said, "Oh, okay, you're doing this now, are you?" Which I think he was always conceived to be on it as well.
It was in every episode, anyways.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, it was. But it's good, and people, and that format will always, for me, be their format. Right. I wouldn't go there and necessarily copy it. I mean, if I'd ever do copy anyone, not that I don't copy. I'll take an idea and
inspiration,
change it around. Yeah, inspiration. Yeah. I think that's what they call it.
I think we all do that to each other.
Exactly. And I'm definitely you've definitely given me loads of inspiration about your shorts that you do with Cali Brick Clique. I think that's great. I'm not going to do the bouncy word.
You can do it. I didn't make that up. I took it from other podcasts.
Did you really? All right, I'm
I
over
mean,
it.
like
inspiration,
like the Joe Rogan podcast or like any other like the Mr. Beast ones, or although they all do the same thing.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Oh, I remember that last time I was on as well with 28, which is months ago, and you was like saying, you kept saying to me, just put words in it, but just put words on every video. Put words on every video. And I was like, okay, I will. Don't because you start. It's not. It's because you can't. I'm looking around for an. Everyone's googling like the captions, free captions for videos and stuff like that. But we do evolve, though, don't we? We do all evolve. We all change. Things change. The world changes. Lego changes. Formats change. YouTube has gone through some massive changes over the last few years. Some of which really did. Pull the rug out on a lot of people, and especially with Coppo and stuff like that. I was like, oh my God, what's going on? It's like, but we've all rode it and we're still here. So, and that's kind of nice. I still remember back in the day when Claire would do a live stream. She'd be sitting on the floor on a coffee table and building a modular, ninja with that. That's the one thing I do miss about having been in this game now for about 3 and a bit years is that I miss the new things that, what I mean? It's like, the 1st January the 1st, and then realizing, crap, I just spent all the money from Christmas, and I can't, what do I do? And stuff like that. And I don't know, it's a bit like getting older, I suppose. You kind of, those times that you do something for the first time, and those times that you kind of take yourself out of your comfort zone become less and less. And I think it's good. I think it's good to do that. Push the envelope out there. Keep taking chances. And the thing is as well, because I don't do it, it's not my day job. It's just fun. I can kind of get away with it to a certain degree, and trying to sort of build a framework at the same time of what works and what doesn't work. But being a part of all this, being a part of Cali Brick Clique, and all the stuff that we end up doing and things like that with other people around the world, it just makes it still a very enjoyable thing to do.
Wow. I don't know how we can follow that up. I should just do this for just move you over.
Yeah, keeping the community bonded by the bricks.
Bonded by the brick. Yeah, that was it. I think I made that phrase up on this very stream.
I believe you did. I mean, that's where I got it from. Yeah.
Oh, no, dude, I love it. I love it. I love seeing you guys as well and catching up with you and things. And we're a long way away, and it's nice to keep tabs. The first thing I saw this morning when I put on my phone, it was like Claire doing a reel or a story. It was a reel, obviously, and it was kind of cool, man, with all the bricks and plates and stuff. It's interesting. It's just good. I remember Claire used to say to me, she goes, "Craig, you're always on Instagram." I do. I honestly, even if I'm doing something that's completely un-Lego related, I'll try and pull it around to something. The most ridiculous segue, I'll make it kind of work if I can. But it's just fun, though, isn't it? That's the thing.
Skill.
I do it for fun, and I do. I've really like Claire's the very strategic one. Shy's the entrepreneur, and Ninja is like feels like he's the one that pulls strings and things like that.
I'm just a ninja.
It's kind of it's an interesting combination. I'm really glad that you guys are going as well, because it's hard. 100. That's insane. I mean, how many hours is that? I mean, God,
100 and something hours.
You gotta shout out Shy. Shy's doing
a
lot of work.
It's all Shy. Ninja and I just show up and talk.
Yeah, like, what time? All right, I'll be there.
No, it's
there was a moment. There was a moment where I used to reach out to people because I was the only one going to conventions and making face-to-face contacts with people, and so I was helping kind of negotiate. And then I was like, nope, I'm out.
It's all good. It's fine. I don't mind.
I'll probably get back into it at some point, but oh man,
I just try to come wall, Claire.
Do better.
What? I know.
For me and Claire.
I know.
Hey, look, I've been at 1,000. We're about to be monetized. That's
yeah, you are.
I want the algorithm.
I don't know, Tiago. If your 380,000, I don't even know how many subs he's got now. Can't get it to 1,000. We should come back on and talk about it. Why?
We need answers.
But how are you guys dealing with the podcast and stuff like that? Are you do you ever want to make it more than a podcast, or because that's the one thing I've never done yet. I still haven't. I've almost got a podcast together. I think I might have even mentioned it last time I was on.
You have a podcast. All you got to do is just put it on podcast platforms. That's it.
Yeah, I suppose. Well, you work in London Calling.
You don't have to change the audio. You just upload it.
No, for real. Because like I said, I don't even watch when I listen. I just throw it on and I just put my phone to sleep and I just listen.
Oh, does it still work when you're just listening? To it? I don't really just ever listen because I'm in it. I'm there. So
the only difference is with like when I put it as when I'm acknowledging that it's a podcast is when I started editing it, like how we talk. Like that's very important when you're just listening to it versus just watching it, because things happen and then it's not very fluid. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you want it to sound good if that's what you're really depending on, especially on podcast platforms. But I've been watching a lot of podcasts, and there are some that are very like edited, very like intentional with what they're doing, and there's some that are just literally just sitting down. Like Mr. Beast was on a roof just on a podcast. They're just sitting there talking, and like there is potential for it. I don't know about it. It's really hard because of how the algorithm works with it. Because obviously, if you put like an hour and a half worth of content on there and people really only watch 15 minutes of it, 10 minutes of it, 5 minutes of it, it's not going to do very well. It's not going to promote itself. It's not going to push. So when they acknowledge the fact that podcasts are something that YouTube is lacking as far as like promoting and like just having it a staple amongst itself, because a lot of people do go on YouTube just to listen to podcasts.
Yeah, I do.
It's literally one of the things that they acknowledge in their KPIs. Like, oh yeah, this is a thing. And now that they made a beta where they have all the big ones on there, I'm really curious to see how that goes. Which is like kind of pushed me around like, maybe we should kind of like focus in on this a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. Because like
as far as change, I don't know. Really sure.
And YouTube's big on shorts at the moment. They're looking at monetizing that and all that sort of stuff. And if podcast is something they're looking at now's the time to get in on that, because it'll be in 2-3 years' time when it really pays off. It really will be. So yeah, man. That's
So we'll see. I mean, I personally just enjoy just having a conversation with my friends. That's like the one thing I look forward to the most.
But that's what it is all about, though, isn't it? It's
that's why you do reels for it, because you just want to have a conversation.
Hey, are you enjoying them? I'm enjoying them.
No, they're fun. They're a lot of fun.
But you've got to use it as a way of promoting what you guys do, because when you're out of sight, you're out of mind, and that's the thing. You got to be there as much as you possibly can. And I don't know. It's just one of those things. It's just a promotion device, I guess. But you guys do a great job on the podcast. I mean, you're outstripping everyone. There's very few other ones that I even listen to, and you guys do a very varied one. Like what you did on, I mean, last week's one on Emma Soros was really interesting because it was her perspective, and there's a lot of good stuff in that as well. Like what she was saying. Interestingly, though, the one I found, I think one of my most ones that I've enjoyed the most this year, it was like a counselling session. For Ryan a couple of weeks
That's
ago.
all it is for Ryan when he comes here. We just yell at him and
I was like,
we yell at him.
I mean, Claire's all in on this one, she is. And you gave him some pretty sound advice. And even I was like willing him. I was like, come on, Ryan, just get on with it. You know what I mean? I was like, come on. And I was like, fucking hell, he's like super successful anyway. But he's funny though, isn't it? Because he is successful. He's massively successful. He's a good guy as well. I do really like him. Yeah. Well, you guys know him more personally than I do. We just know of each other and stuff. We're kind of like peripheral friends, so to speak. And he's but it's funny, isn't it? There's still in him to do more, and there's still potential there to do more. And he's been doing it for like years. But you see it, Claire. That's the thing. You see it, and Shy can steer that ship as well. I mean, maybe you guys should consult for him, because that's what it felt like. It felt like he was coming in for a consultation.
That's the difference.
I didn't want it to end.
Him listening.
I didn't want to. He must have had an headache after that. But he's a good guy. Well, I like what he does anyway. Put it that way. He's a bit like the rebel, isn't he? In the Lego space, especially against Lego.
He's so funny because he's like so scared of roller coasters and like everything else in life. But I love that you called him the rebel in the Lego space.
He is. He's always going to be the little rebel for me, because he was the first one that broke the mold on leaving LAN and he was the first, and that's the differentiation. And he's done
yeah,
all
I
right.
think he got kicked out. I don't think that was his own choice, but
I
agree with you. I agree.
Yeah,
but
they have massively. But the thing is, they have not replaced him. That's the thing, have they? Of all the people that they've got there, they just haven't got anyone that's quite as up on the Star Wars stuff and isn't as passionate about it as what he is. And that's a good thing. That's why I still watch him. Tiago's very good. I'll give him that. But I go to Tiago for pretty much all the reviews. Tiago Jang, in that sort of thing. And someone like Ryan is my go-to man for Star Wars stuff, I suppose. Shy's Castle Man and Modulars. And Claire, what about you? Where are you going to go with your YouTube channel? Are you going to do anything with it? Because I love all these stickers that you do. Do you post them to the UK? Can you get them in the UK?
Definitely, yeah. We post internationally.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The stickers are just like fun, and it's like a creative outlet. It's just like another branch of the hobby. But yeah, it's been a crazy year and trying to find like a place to live and get settled and figure out work stuff. So, with the way that anxiety manifests itself, it's kind of gone to the back burner, but got 2.5 months left of the year. So hopefully I do something about it. A lot of changes have happened in the last like a couple weeks that will hopefully make things easier come next year. But we'll see. Stay tuned. Just
of course.
I'm not leaving. There's intentions for more, but
you know what? One of the things I'd like to do, Shy, if I did a thoroughbred podcast, so to speak, I'd like to do one with like people that collect Mega Constructs, people that collect Kobe. Do you know what I mean? Almost like a round table of people that collect other block.
I mean, I think the best thing would do is to venture out of Lego too. Get more of that niche. So like that building block would be a good way to start that. Just not focus on Lego in itself.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
That's the thing. So I kind of my sort of one of my cards I play is this constant learning curve thing, and it is. I genuinely am. I love learning stuff. I'd like to know what other people are doing as well, because I was in the store yesterday, and I looked at this. It was Mega Construct. It was the first time I've ever seen it in a store, and it was the Top Gun airplane. I was actually, God, that looks all right for £14. I was just like, shall I just buy it and not tell anyone, and then just build it and just put it in the background or something like that? So I might do that on a set one day. I might do that on a set one day. Just build something that's completely non-Lego, but it's block. Just put it in the back. See if anyone ever knows.
Appreciate Lego.
I will agree with that for sure.
Okay, I've got a question for you, Shy. When you built the Lego store, right? When I built the forest, casting the forest, I hated that PDF they came with. I was like, the coloration on it was dire. Was it the same still with the?
No, it wasn't that bad. No,
I was all right.
It wasn't
for
like
that. Yeah,
it's also the Lego store is colorful versus a castle.
Yeah, the castle's just very great.
So there's a lot of like tan and nougat colors in there. So it's not as like daunting to look at. And I think the instructions were done really well for the Lego store. There was probably like 2 hiccups, and I'm like, that shouldn't have been done like that. But aside from that, I think it was well done. I still haven't built like the castle in the forest, so I don't know how to compare that to this one. But
yeah,
it is what it is.
Yeah. And like, where do you want to be with your channel, Shy? Where do you want it to go? Is it have you got a plan for it, or are you just kind of doing what you're doing because you like it? What's your
we're about to have a thunderstorm. I've broken the mold from just staying in the military by itself.
Yeah,
that's what I wanted to do. There was a glass ceiling. I hit it. I didn't see like me growing as fast if I stayed there. I started getting some real traction when I started to venture out. It was hard at first just because like a lot of my audience was military, then switching it over was a little bit it took a while to see that. And then when I noticed it when I started posting military stuff, and they weren't getting as many views. So I'm like, oh, my audience is changing. So not necessarily mean I'm trying to be like a Ryan or an Emily or anything like that. I like doing my own thing. I do want to keep doing the military stuff and the custom stuff. I'm not getting away from that. It's just I'm going to treat that more as dessert than the meat and potatoes.
Yeah.
Just one, financially, it's smarter. Like it's too expensive. So I also got to keep in mind about that. So I've been trying to just kind of seeing where I go. I just like, honestly, I just like being respected in the community. That's it.
That's a really good place to be. You don't necessarily want to be the best. You want to be one up there with the respected ones. Yeah, I think that's a really nice place to be honest. And that comes through putting in the hard work, the hours, and being, as Jang would say, just a nice guy. That's cool.
Hey, we love our acronyms. What can I say?
We do, yeah. I was disappointed when I heard when I found out what Jang was. I was like, oh God, what was your name? There we go. Cool. Have you done an outro? Do you have to do an outro or anything like that? Or
this is it?
Did you guys hear that?
Is that
thunder?
Yeah.
That's thunder.
Damn.
I need to get my dog.
Yeah.
That's our outro right there.
That's it.
There you have it.
There we go.
Yeah, that was it.
Happy Halloween!
And then Shy will cut it right
Is it over, really?
With a thunder. It was like, Happy Halloween!
Okay, cool. I can literally hit end broadcast.
I just wanted to give you a heads up so when you get back, we'll cut it.
We're cut.